Best Irish music on irishradio.org with Jerry Byrne.
I'm Jerry Byrne, Irish Radio it is. Now, as I'm sure you all know at this stage, recently we lost one of the all-time greats of Irish country music, a gentleman who'd performed from the 1960s right through, a household name and a true legend, an incredible voice, an incredible talent, and regarded by everybody in the business as one of the all-time greats. Coming indeed from a family of people with fantastic musical talent, I'm delighted to say hello to brother of the late Brian Coll, Dermot Coll. Dermot, how are you? Nice to speak to you.
Fine, Jerry. Thank you. I'm grand.
First of all, sympathies on the loss of Brian, and which was a major shock to so many people.
Major shock. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. He had been suffering from cancer, but when it happened on Saturday night, the 7th, it was a massive shock. We didn't expect it at all. Indeed
not. And for a man who had actually overcome the odds back in the late 1980s when he had a brain hemorrhage and came through all of that. And continued on after that. Working and as good as ever, beating the odds.
Yes, beating the odds. He played away, sang away, and got the voice and all back, and wasn't the best of form. And then just about 10 weeks ago, he got diagnosed with a tumour in his bowel.
Right.
And they continued on then with all the checks, and they discovered then a few weeks later he had cancer in the lung as well.
Right.
So it wasn't looking good for him. Although he was, as he said, something's got to take you. That was his opinion at the time. But he had no pain. He had no nothing. He was feeling fairly good until he took the heart attack, obviously.
Right, indeed.
Yeah.
So that was good that he was, that he was a good forward. All the rest of it, But listen, growing up in your house, music must have been a huge, huge thing.
It was indeed. We had Brian singing. We had Frank singing as well. He first sang with the Klondike Show Band, a local band here, and Martin was on rhythm guitar, singing locally in groups and that.
Right. And
brother Gabriel Dublin was he was in the army in Dublin, but he was a great harmonica player.
Right.
As well. So.
Right. And Brian, when Brian started off with the Platter Men.
Polka Dots first.
Oh, Polka.
And 1960. He played with the Polka Dots in the Palindrome at Strabane, and 5-hour dance. I used to say, and all I got was 5. It was 9 o'clock to 2 in the morning, and it was all I got was a pound.
Wow.
1960. But he went then to the Plattermen.
Right. He went to the Plattermen then, and I think it was possibly in the Plattermen that he sort of came to prominence at that time.
Big time, yes. Manager Jim Aiken Promotions.
Yes.
He was the manager at the time, and recorded in London. Knew how to get the band publicised properly, and they were a big name here in the country as they played all over from Cork to Belfast.
Indeed. And then it was in the early 1970s that Brian departed from the Plattermen and set up the Buckaroos.
Started the Buckaroos, yes, himself and Seamus McCusker as manager. Started it up on their own and kept at it working hard, and got the band properly on the road, publicised, and it went on from there straight up. He was doing massive business. When I was there, 72 to 76, as you used to say the old show band term, you never seen the floorboards. The halls were packed.
Indeed. And you were actually the road manager, I believe, at the time.
I was indeed, yeah, for 4 years.
Right, so you were travelling around with the guys every night. You certainly must have covered the miles back then.
I was doing the driving, yes. We used to, we were doing between 40 and 50,000 miles a year.
Wow.
From Tuesday night Donegal, Wednesday Ballymena, Thursday Dublin, Friday Galway, Saturday Glenties and Donegal, Sunday Cork. That was the type of running.
Right. That was fair old going, and as you were saying, the dances then were much longer, than they are today.
No, well, that would have been in the 60s. We were usually 11, depends, 11 to half 1, or in Donegal it was 12 to 2.
Right.
Like
Okay.
quarter to 12 to 2.
Right, so it wasn't that wasn't too bad. But in that time you were with them. You saw the incredible success, like These Are My Mountains and all of those tracks.
Absolutely, yeah. Massive hometown on the foil, and he was doing Cattle Call and whatnot. He was doing the whole lot of them at that time.
Indeed, they were all huge hits. All of those songs, absolutely huge chart successes.
Yes, they were indeed, and the band that we had, of course, the great Artie McGlynn was lead player at the time as well in the band.
Indeed, the lineup.
And they were,
what happened?
yeah, the great musical.
Indeed, what actually happened after Brian left the Platinum at that time? Did they continue on after that?
Oh, they did indeed. They turned into more of a real pop band. Rob Strong was the lead singer then.
Yes. I remember that. So basically he took over after Brian had left, and they had completely changed direction at that stage.
They had indeed.
Right.
Yep.
But the thing with Brian was he never ever, in all the success right throughout the years, and I've met him. It was at many events. He performed at. He never changed.
Never changed. He always, as he used to say himself, he become very friendly with a lot of people that left him. That we would have been home in our beds, and he was still having tea in Galway in somebody's house.
Yes, he was. Yes, he did. He made a huge amount of friends with a huge amount of people. And one thing I did happen to notice, with him is after a gig he would sit down and he would talk to people for hours on end afterwards.
That's correct. Yeah, all the time. In fact, we used to some of the halls we played. He used to say to the band, "Right, I want you to call to the house here on the way back," and the whole band would call to the house and have tea and that with the people that were at the dance.
Right.
Before we had it home,
Mighty stuff. And he was always like that. One thing about Brian, he was a great conversationalist, and he had some absolutely fantastic stories.
Always in a brilliant memory.
Yes, he used to actually talk about, and he could mention specific times and places and all the rest of it, and say about these events which happened, which was truly astounding. That he could actually remember, back in 1968 being someplace.
That's correct. All the time he had a brilliant memory that way there. Never forgot details of things that happened 20, 30 years ago.
Indeed, incredible, incredible stuff, and I think with the esteem in which he was shown, Dermot, you could probably get some grasp of it, when he did pass away. The amount of social media tributes there were, the amount of tributes there were from just so many people, and I believe his funeral, even in COVID times with social distancing and all that, I believe there was a huge amount of people lined the route of the funeral.
Indeed, myself and brother John, we were at the front carrying out the coffin, and because there was only 25 allowed into the church, until we arrived outside the door, the whole road was completely blocked. And all the way down Georgia Street, along John Street, right out to Dermot Road, there was people lined along, clapping. The front of the church was completely jammed, the road.
Wow, that is something.
Yeah.
That is something else. Just shows the esteem which he was regarded in as a native son of Omagh, and he has left behind. He's left behind a huge. One thing he did, Dermot, was he made a huge amount of recordings.
He did indeed, like 26 albums and 56 singles.
Wow.
He recorded a lot of stuff.
Indeed, absolutely incredible collection of material. for over the years, and managed to make many of the songs that he recorded his own. I mean, he's sort of the definitive artist you think of when you think about songs such as "Hometown on the Foyle" or "Cattle Call" or "These Are My Mountains," or the Blazing Star of Athenry, which was huge for him back in the 60s. He managed to make these songs sort of his own.
Correct. There was no one else really doing that stuff, and hasn't been in the country since. Early days would have been very, very high Slim Whitman type stuff, and then he mellowed in. But he recorded a lot of. He had contacts in Nashville, and he used to get LPs sent over to him all the time for different artists that mightn't have been known here.
Yes.
And he used to record stuff that you normally wouldn't hear on the radio,
Yes, indeed. That's right. In the early days, I do remember, sort of his very, very earlier stuff was very Slim Whitman-y type, but then it sort of mellowed down into, all sorts of various styles, including, not alone did he record the music from Nashville, but also recorded so many Irish songs.
Indeed, his first LP, The Roses to Lee, The Banks of My Own Lovely Lee, and a lot of I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen, all very Irish tunes. And actually it was said by my uncle, I think one time, Benedict Cayley, he said that he preferred Brian doing the Irish ballads instead of country stuff.
Right, yeah. I believe actually he took out an album called I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen.
It was the Rosa to Lee. It was on that album at the very start. And funny enough, I recently, now about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I was looking up trying to order some stuff, and I ordered Brian Coll Sings Irish. And when I received the CD, it come from Japan. Believe it or not, it was all Japanese writing all over the envelope.
Wow. That is just that is incredible. It just it just shows the I don't think we possibly have any idea how far and wide the music of the likes of Brian actually did travel.
Indeed, and he recorded an LP in Nashville, obviously, as well, and he was very well liked over there. He was made a few offers at times to actually stay in Nashville. Right. Which he didn't do. He had commitments at home and he wanted to stay.
Right. That's indeed. It just I think it's a tribute to the sheer talent which he had. That that was he actually was offered that. Because it's not very often that an Irish singer is actually offered work in the likes of Nashville.
Not too often. I think himself and I think it was Ray Lanham was with him at the time. The two of them were offered opportunities to make it big in the States at the time, but they both declined, came back here.
Right. There you go. Fair play.
One of the most memorable ones for ourselves was myself, brother John, Frank, Martin, and we all went to Brian. Actually, fair play to the guy. He to the States for 3 weeks in 1986.
Right.
We went to New York and then stayed a few days in New York and drove down through North Carolina and down to Nashville and stayed 4 or 5 days in Nashville and went to Los Angeles and then drove back in a motorhome nearly back all the way across the States again. We had a massive time.
Right, I'd well believe that. That's some driving.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we were away for 23 days.
Right. Crikey.
Yeah, in 86. It was very memorable.
Indeed.
Around Nashville, where he knew where he was going and whatnot, and he was showing us around the different places where he had sang and whatnot. It was good trip.
That's excellent. I'll have to say, Dermot, some magical memories of Brian, and a gentleman we could talk about for hours because he has done so many things and attained so many achievements and done so much indeed for Irish music and Irish entertainment. Dermot, listen, it's been lovely to chat to you. I wish you and all the rest of the family all the very best, and stay safe and stay well in the times we have.
Thank you very much, Jerry. It's a pleasure to talk to you.